Hello, Literary Rose here with I Dream of Indie to talk to you about the magnificence that is Cult of the Lamb, coming to us from developers Massive Monster and publishers Devolver Digital. Let's start at the beginning, where you are a literal lamb for the slaughter of old gods who hope to stop the rise of a creature they fear, which apparently requires killing you, the last lamb. But said creature revives you after your sacrificial death and tasks you with the most important quest: create a cult, kill the old gods that have this creature chained up, and release them onto the world. If the name didn't give it away, this game is rife with cult-based imagery and cartoon violence, so if that's a no-go for you, then do avoid this title. Cute horror is abound. The gameplay is made up of two components: action roguelike dungeon crawling for ingredients and followers, and base building / management at your cult camp, where your recruited followers worship at your altar to grow your power, so long as you make sure they are fed and faithful, which is easier said than done. The combat is satisfying and forgiving in the medium difficulty, which is the developer recommended choice. They also recommend playing with a controller, which I wholeheartedly agree with. Your dungeons consist of 4 different lands that are varied from one another in design and ingredients to collect. Each run you are offered 2 weapons at the start, your standard knife, cleaver, etc., and then an arcane power that ranges from a tentacle attack to globs of poison lobbed on the map. The arcane power is limited in its charges, which you can refill by defeating enemies. Within these dungeons you encounter old gods that advance the plot, as well as special events and vendors. There's the tarot card reader that offers you a choice between 2 cards that give different bonuses to your gameplay. Other characters you'll meet include a weapons master, a caterpillar cook, a cat, of course, a fishman, so many more. And y'all, that's just the dungeon part. We haven't even touched on the complexity that lies in building your cult. Keeping your cult fed keeps your followers in line, which I personally understand. Give me some good food and I'll do whatever you say for the most part. Make your followers meals using berries or vegetables from your farms, fish from the pier, or any edibles you collect in the dungeons. You also need to keep their faith up, which can be done by completing requests they will approach you with. Completing these requests levels up your followers, and with each level you are filled with their devotion, building your devotion meter that is used to buy major upgrades for your cult camp. Cleanliness is another meter to manage, which decreases as your followers do their business all over your shared grassy home, until you unlock outhouses, which can take a fair share of time to get to. Besides cooking and cleaning, you hold sermons to increase faith, hold rituals, and make doctrines using commandment stone fragments. These doctrines range from extorting money out of your followers to ordering respect for elderly followers, and so forth. The rituals can increase faith and sometimes other meters like hunger. For instance, the feast ritual was one I used a lot in the beginning. Or if you have an unruly follower, a quick ritual sacrifice should solve the problem. Some followers might be affected by this, but don't worry, they'll get over it. Or it's them next on the sacrificial circle. In the meantime, you can always put them in a medieval punishment stock to stop them from spreading that lamb cult hate. Finally, at your sermon altar you can control personal upgrades like switching out your fleece or crown powers, which you unlock using a diseased heart taken from dungeon bosses. The boons offer different options like dealing double damage, but taking double damage in return. Now let's talk about those buildings you can create using the devotion your followers imbue you with. There are many structures you can build, each of which can be upgraded using your divine inspiration: farms, seed silos, beds, gravestones, donation altars, and so much more. Alright, now let's talk about the art style. Undoubtedly, one of the most striking elements of this title, besides the premise itself, Cult of the Lamb is what my fantastic childhood friend calls meticulously crafted from children's dreams and molded into players' nightmares. Massive Monster offers us a hand-drawn 2D art style that will steal your heart in its cuteness and then stomp all over it when you have to kill said cute things. Cult of the Land took me about 26 hours to complete, including all side quests. For difficulty, I tried to champion accessibility as much as possible. As a self-proclaimed hater of Souls-like games, my daily life is suffering, pass on more of that in my game time. But even I must admit that on the normal difficulty, I found the game a bit easy. But fear not, for if you find it too easy or you are of the get good variety, you can bump that difficulty up. And on the topic of accessibility, there are so many options. You can change the difficulty, vibration, tutorials on or off, the graphics from the lighting to environmental detail, bloom, depth of field, camera motion, flashing lights on and off, adjust the text size. There are so many options, so all indie warriors can enjoy this game. Now, I do approach a part of the review I am unhappy to report. There was a bug that haunted my gameplay. Randomly, my followers would disappear from the plane of existence, and worst of all, without my permission. It was easily fixed by saving, going back to the main menu, but this bug happened often enough that it disrupted my gameplay significantly. Hopefully this bug is gone by launch, but I do think that if the bug persists, I can see some players getting fed up with it. Leaving that bit of ugliness aside, let's end on a high note. The sound design, heavy church bells, rush of flames when you walk over demon circles, the tip-tap of lamb hooves across the ground. Wow, did they kill it with the sound design. Every single sound and every single musical composition is exquisite. Composer Riverboy imbues Cult of the Lamb with electronic beats that I can best describe as spoopy, funky church. And last but certainly not least, the voices of the creatures in this game are delightful. Animal Crossing meets mumbling toddler for your followers, and eerie, clicky sounds for the foes of the games. I enjoyed listening to all of it, even the sinister ones. Final thoughts? Cult of the Lamb is a cult classic for roguelike lovers and management fans. While it does not reinvent any of these genres, it combines them into a wholesome and horrifying experience. Sacrifice your followers today.
We thank you so much for supporting clickbait-free content here at I Dream of Indie. We couldn't possibly make it without you and these brave indie warriors and legends. At the Indie Warriors tier, we have Bill, Adriana Amato, CJR, Julian Colbus, Ray Lynn, Marky Mint, Dave Harp, Peekaboo, Lex Noyle, Christian Cruz, PSC, Solarus C, Chic Geek, Ancha277, and Acrophobe. Indie legends include Nathan Moore, Skeptism, Jen Rose, Chris Jackson, Mr. W, Blue Francis 14, The Beefarinis, Business Cody, Chiron, Jace Glover, King of the Hatch, Ophidian Mind, Lord Metroid, Seacoil, and Larkison. Thank you so much for everything that you do for independent developers, publishers, and for I Dream of Indie. Everybody else head down to the description box below. Let's defeat the gaming echo chamber and bring a voice to the voiceless ones in gaming.